Hey everyone, I'm back. So I already did like an introduction video earlier this morning. I just got done talking about a little bit of a background from my parents. And now I think I'm just going to kind of talk about myself a little bit, at least in the sense of childhood stuff that happened. Let me think. There's so much that I don't know whether to like break it down into snippets or just do one big video. I think I'll just do into snippets just because if people want to pick and choose what they want to hear about, then they can, especially if, like, something, I don't know, like, either offends them or upsets them and they would rather have the option to just, like, sorry, I thought my dog was barking. Have the option to not have to be forced to watch it to get to another part of the video. So I guess the first story I can go to is I already told a little bit in the last video about the whole, like, first memory of kind of, like, things not being right is, like, falling in a fountain and blacking out and not knowing why I wasn't, like, either not taken to the hospital or just kind of was ignored or, like, why I wasn't taken out of the water immediately. I'm just trying to think. I'm the oldest between my sister and I. My sister is 3 years younger than me. The earliest memory with my sister that was off, well, I wouldn't say off. Basically, I think around the age of either 8 or 9, I was forced to basically be my sister's keeper because my parents were working at the time, and I think my Nana had gotten sick because she used to be our, caregiver. She would just watch us, and even then, like, she was sick to the point where she couldn't really walk on her own very much. She died of cirrhosis of the liver. She didn't drink, so some of the stuff that I only know very little about, because I didn't dare question it, because, like, I'll talk in another video about how when my Nana died, my dad lost his fucking mind, and, like, did all these dumb shit, and, just dumb shit. And it not only, affected me and my mom, like, it destroyed my sister, because my sister was a daddy's girl, and the golden child of the family. Like, if we want to put labels in regard to narcissistic parents and families and ACON children, I was the scapegoat, and my sister was the golden child. And if she sees this, like, you know that you were, and, yeah. I still take you to Disney World, so fuck off, I can say what I want. But yeah, that's also just how, like, she and I talk, so don't think that, like, there's any animosity. That's just how we communicate. So yeah, basically, at 9, I had to kind of stop being a kid, because I had to watch my sister by myself all the time, and I had to make sure I fed her, and at that time, all I knew was how to make open-faced cheese sandwiches in the microwave, and I think that's why, to this day, I can't stand Kraft singles. Like, I fucking can't stand them, because I'd eat them so much in the microwave, because it's all we could eat. It was either that or tomato soup, and that was all I could manage to cook, because I didn't know how to cook. I was 9, And I'm surprised my sister didn't get fucking sick of it and, like, smack me with something about it, or I don't know. So, from 9 until, like I've told people, I think even now I'm still taking care of my sister, but at a much smaller scale. Like, I'm not feeding her, obviously. Like, we don't even live in the same state anymore. She lives in Florida, and I live somewhere up north. And oh my god, I swear to god, I need to get better at this, like, dead air thing, I know. Yeah, so basically what ended up happening is my Nana just kept getting sicker and sicker until she passed, and I still was, like, forced to be my mom, or my sister's, guardian, essentially, because my parents, they didn't really give a flying fuck. Like, they didn't care to, like, teach us things or entertain us at all. They didn't really want us to join clubs or anything when we were younger. Like, the only thing we were really allowed to do was Girl Scouts and 4-H, and 4-H we literally were forced to do because my mom did it when she was younger, so she made us do it, even though we hated it after a while. Like, she made us do it. And, you know, that sucked, because when we, growing up, for the most part, we lived out in the middle of, like, butt-fuck nowhere, and there were no kids around, so all we could do was, like, play with each other, and that was it. And it was kind of a lonely existence, because we both went to Catholic school for the first part of our, like, elementary days, and it was in the city, and like I said, we lived out in the country, like, all the way out in the middle of nowhere, and, like, not a lot of our friends would be able to come all the way out that far, because, you know, like, parents, which is understandable, parents didn't want to drive out there, because it's so far away and stuff, but it was hard. It was hard not really having friends over very often, because it was so far out from, like, the school, because everyone that I was close with lived in the city, or lived, like, near the school, and we lived all the way on the other side of fucking town. Like, it was ridiculous. So, I'm trying to think of, like, an incident that happened. I'm trying to think. There's certain things that I can talk about, but I think I'm going to save it for, like, a specific video, because there are some things that happened in my life that could be, I hate using the word, but triggering to certain people, because it is, like, sexual in nature or physical in nature, so I won't talk about it in this video, but there is some stuff that has happened. Oh my god, like, my sister and I used to actually have a really shitty relationship, growing up. Like, my sister really, she bought, like, everything my dad would tell her. Like, anything my dad said, she would believe, and she would never grasp the concept that my dad was nothing but a compulsive liar, and, like, if it didn't benefit him, he didn't care, and all that stuff. Like, and I guess I could talk about that. My dad and I never got along, because I think, first off, he's one of those men where, like, I wasn't a boy. I wasn't, like, a son, so I couldn't carry on the family name or whatever. And it was kind of like a mixture of that, plus he didn't even want me in the first place, so it's like, oh, well, maybe I'll get a boy, even though I didn't want this kid, and then I turned out to be a girl. So then he gets, like, double fucked over, so then he couldn't stand me. Like, I was the manifestation of all of his sorrow, because he was stuck married to a woman he didn't even know that well, someone I don't think he really even respected or cared about that much. Like, all they were fuck buddies for a short time until they screwed up. And I was just a constant reminder, because I look like my mom so much, and, like, every time I just look into the camera, I see it, and it bothers me, to be honest with you. Like, especially when I take my glasses off, I straight up, like, if my friends watch this, or my sister watches this, they're gonna be like, yeah, you look straight up like your mom. Like, I hate it so much. I don't look anything like my dad. Like, right here is right where, like, these are my mom's eyes. It's so fucking scary. Hopefully, when I lose all the weight that I want to lose, I won't look like her as much, because I don't want to look like her, but, you know, if that doesn't really change that much, it is what it is. I can't really do anything about it, unless I want to have, like, reconstructive surgery or something, but I don't think I'm going to do it to my face, so I'll deal with it. So yeah, I think it was a lot of resentment toward me just for existing, because my dad's party days were over. He had to, like, have responsibilities now. He had to make sure he actually had a job to take care of his family. And, yeah, like, I just got shunned from a lot of things, because I'm an artsy person. Like, I'm not interested in going out fishing or camp. Like, I like to camp, I'll be honest, but I didn't like to do it every fucking weekend. Like, I wanted to have, you know, different things to do on the weekends. I didn't want to always go out camping. I didn't want to always, you know, do sportsy shit. Like, why can't we go to the museum? Why can't we go to, like, a paint shop? Why can't we go do like a spin class or pottery or something? Like, why is it always, like, manly and sportsy shit? Like, why can't we do something that, like, me and my mom wanted to do? That's why we were so split. My mom and I were artsy people, and my sister and my dad were, like, sportsy, outdoorsy people. And that was fine. Like, there's nothing bad about having, you know, different hobbies and interests in a family. But it's not okay when the patriarch of the family, gets to decide everything. So every weekend it was nothing but like, oh, we're gonna stay home and watch the sports, we're gonna watch football, and oh, we're gonna go outside and we're gonna go fishing and we're gonna camp and do nothing else with our fucking lives. But God forbid, like, we ever went to a museum or something. Like, I love history. I'm a history fanatic. And if I wanted to go to, like, a historical museum, I literally would never hear the end of how fucking boring the museum was, how this was a stupid idea, how this was a waste of money. Like, it was relentless to the point where I stopped trying to ask to go places. Like, it was terrible. Like, I don't know, like, I told my husband, you know, we're both giant nerds. Like, we don't know anything about sports. Like, I enjoy watching football in person. Other than that, like, I really don't care about sports. And I told my husband that if we have kids and they turn out to be jocks, I'd be, like, questioning if they're my child first, but I would, like, you would see me in the back of the library just huddled up with all these, like, sports books on whatever sport they chose, and I would, like, educate myself and be there for my kid. And, like, if they had an interest in something I might not necessarily like, I would still want them to pursue what they want in that interest or hobby or sport or whatever club that they want to be in. You would never see me be like, I don't like sports, so because I don't like sports, you're not gonna like sports. I think that's bullshit, because that's what my dad did to me all the time. Like, I never could just be expressive. I couldn't do anything. Anything that was artsy would just get shot down, and, like, my mom would never stand up to him. Because I think, like, for the longest time, my mom, like, would just be threatened with divorce, I think, and that's why she didn't want to leave. So she put up with it, which I wish she never did, because they've even said, like, at least once that they thought about getting divorced when we were young, but they didn't want to, like, break up the family. And quite frankly, I wish they would have gotten a divorce, because maybe my life would have gone differently. But it's also, like, when I've met my husband, because, you know, it's like that butterfly effect of where you change one little thing, the whole thing changes. So it's kind of like, you have to take it for what it is. It's like, I wish they would have gotten a divorce and maybe my life would have been better, but I might not have met my husband or something, like, something would have happened that is good in my life wouldn't have happened, and that would have sucked. But I never would wish what I went through on anybody. Like, I don't understand it. I don't understand narcissistic people. I don't understand narcissistic parents. Like, why do you have to be so selfish, like, fulfilling? Like, children for narcissistic parents, all we're good for is giving, like, filling up their supply. Like, that's it. That's all we're good for. And then when we get old enough to have our own opinions and ideas and interests, they just treat you like shit until either you break down mentally and you either kill yourself, or you run away from home, or you just stick it out until you find, like, the first thing that comes your way to get out of that house and never talk to them again. It's horrible. Like, my husband's parents are fucking wonderful. Like, they are the nicest people I've ever met in my life, and that, like, it's really not hard for the people that I've dealt with in life, but, like, they are, like, the goal of a good marriage, family, parents. Like, they're everything. They are everything you want to be in all of those categories. And, like, when I first met them, I was scared of them because they were so nice, and I thought, what are they going to do to me at a certain point? Because all I've ever known is when people are nice to you, they want something. And if you don't give it to them, they'll be an asshole to you. So, yeah. I was going to make this short about, like, one story, but I'm just all over the place again, because I'm just not a smart individual with these videos, but I'm going to get better at it. You know, it's only my technically first day, because I, you know, recorded at 8 in the morning, now I'm here at 2 in the morning, because, you know, insomnia is a motherfucker. Yeah, so I think I'll cut it off here, just because this one didn't really have any main story, and then cut it back on and do a couple of actual stories and then call it a day. And I'm really hoping with my diet and all the water that I've been drinking, my face will clear up soon, because I know this shit, like, right here is pissing me off, because every time I just look at it, it's like, you look fucking nasty. And I know I do. Like, I look terrible. I've already said in the other videos I look terrible. I need to put makeup on in a little bit anyway, because we're going to the BMV to fix some shit that was going wrong with my name change and everything after we got married, so to fix that, and I need to take a new picture, and I'm not about to take my BMV picture with, like, this fucking cretin on my face and all over my face. Like, it's, ugh. Anyway, I'll see you in a bit. Bye.